Chargers fans are feeling good, but I believe they're being lied to. The Chargers are playoff bound at 7-3, but I see a massive problem to address if they want to make a serious run in the playoffs. My co-host B. Ford disagrees with me and thinks these problems are being overblown. By the end of this video, you're either going to believe this team is fraudulent or they'll be Super Bowl champs. So the first indicator to me that this team is actually kind of fraudulent is their wins, which is weird to say. They've played one of the softest schedules in the league so far, and they have faced 6 teams who have losing records right now. And so far, they are 6-0 against those teams. Against the other 4 teams that have winning records that they faced, they're actually 1-3 in those games. So they're and to make matters worse, in those games that against teams with winning records, they're averaging 14.5 points per game. So to me, I feel like they're definitely being lifted up. At least the record is being lifted up by the fact that they're facing these terrible teams. In fact, I think I saw that most of the offenses they face actually aren't even in the top 15. So, and the problem is when we get to the playoffs, you really won't have the luxury of facing teams that are competing for the first overall pick.
But Emmett, come on, man. You're acting like this is the worst 7-3 team in the history of the NFL. Like, they are far from it. Now, let's break down the 3 teams with winning records that beat the Chargers. The Chiefs, Steelers, and Cardinals are the teams with winning records that beat the Chargers. So that's the defending Super Bowl champ, the current AFC North leader, and the current NFC West leader. So we got cut them a little bit of slack there. Those teams are actually good. And two of the 3 losses occurred within the first 4 weeks of the season. So let's all remember the Chargers won 5 games last year. This was supposed to be a rebuild season for them. And we all know that, the first month of the season is really wishy-washy to start with. This team was rebuilding, so it's not too far unexpected to think that they would struggle in the first month of the season. So let's all remember that too. Now let's talk about the points scored. Yes, the Chargers might have only scored 14.5 points against the Chiefs, Steelers, and Cardinals on average. But they also only lost those games by an average of 6 points. So 1 score. They did not get blown out. And I bring that up because the Chargers defense is why they can and will hang around teams, good teams, and even in the playoffs too. Because they have allowed the fewest points out of every defense in the NFL right now. They only allowed more than 20 points once. 20 points once. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so it's decent. It's decent. Now, I'm talking up, the defense a lot. But I get it. The Chargers offense is not stellar. But Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, they have Justin Herbert playing winning football right now. He's thrown for 13 touchdowns, only thrown 1 pick, thrown for 2,200 yards. So nothing, he's not going to be part of the MVP conversations, but he's playing winning football. He's throwing touchdowns, not turning over the ball. He's playing well. And I think a large part of his success right now is the play of the Chargers offensive line. PFF ranked the Chargers O-line like 13th this past week. It climbed 4 spots. And I get it, like 13th is almost middle of like the road. Well, this is like somewhat of a younger group. They have rookie Joe Alt there. I know they have Slater there too. But they're climbing those rankings. So therefore, the Chargers have a stout defense. They have an improving young O-line, and they have solid quarterback play, which are all the markings of a good football team. And they have a lot to prove against the Ravens on this Sunday. But I know Jim Harbaugh would have those guys juiced up. He's kind of like, he gets me juiced up a little bit too. Just seeing him with the glasses. He's like your grandpa a little bit. He's like, you see him like catching footballs a little bit. You're like, okay, I want to play for this guy. So I know they're gonna be up for the challenge. So Chargers, you better not prove me wrong here. That's all I gotta say.
All right, okay. You do lay out a lot of good points. And that 14.5 did include those 3 losses plus their win against the Broncos. Without that, I think it fell to like 12.5 or something like that. But whatever. All right, semantics. Okay. Yeah, and I'll give you, they do have a good defense. I mean, when you're leading the league and, points allowed per game, you have to have a good defense. But to me, the offense is the biggest issue. And it starts with Greg Roman. He is forcing Herbert to play with one hand tied behind his back. And this is what I mean by that. So the Chargers are 12th in EPA per pass play in the NFL. On the run plays, they're 22nd. Right, so it makes sense. Oh, like they should definitely be throwing the shit out of the ball. Wrong. They call pass plays at 51.2% of the time, which is good for 25th in the league. And they're actually 29th in attempts. So what you're doing well, you're not actually attempting most of the time. You're trying to force running the ball, which why would they? Well, besides the fact it's Greg Roman, that's what he's fucking known for. But they rely heavily on the play action pass is the problem here. Herbert's actually has the third highest percentage of play action pass attempts in the league at 37%. 37% of his pass attempts are play action passes. And obviously, what do you need to do in order to have run successful play action passes? You need to establish the run. Which, hey, J.K. Dobbins, like you mentioned, you're right. Hey, they've got a good old line. They're improving. Woohoo, yip-de-doo. But let's look at what the actual fucking numbers say. The actual numbers show that the Chargers are in the bottom half of the league in most of the advanced rushing statistics. Explosive runs, rushing yards per play, success rate, stuff percentage, all the underlying stats that are really important to having a good, efficient run game. So essentially what they're going out there is they're force-feeding J.K. Dobbins and whoever else is in the backfield to try to establish some semblance of a run so they can try to do play-action passes off of it. And if this team cannot establish the run, they're cooked. All right. The biggest example of this was against the Cardinals, where Herbert was forced to, I think, throw the ball almost 40 times because they were only able to run for 59 yards and had to completely just abandon the run. If they want to make a serious run at any kind of a championship this season, they need to operate this offense through Herbert and not J.K. Dobbins. So to me, I still think this is an average team that's gotten by beating up on bad teams. But B, it seems like you still believe this team is legit. So why don't you guys tell us down in the comment section what you think. Are the Chargers fraudulent or are they legit? Until next time, we've been the RFL Show, and we'll see you in the next video.